by tomorrow, he won't even fit in your house. He's gonna be huge.
Meet Magnus. This is the find of the century.
It's incredible. Our kids in this town have got it tough. There's only two options: military or mischief. I've been that kid.
What are you guys doing here?
There were sightings.
I can't do this stuff.
Sure you can.
We caught something.
Hello, it's Lisa from Lisa Loves doing a review for Geek Legion of Doom, and today I have my 7-year-old son Isaac with me because unusually for me we're reviewing something that isn't a horror movie today. So this is an action adventure family type movie called My Pet Dinosaur. It was released in Australia last year. I don't have an exact date for release this year in the US or UK. I couldn't find anything online about the release date. But Leo from Geek Legion of Doom was kind enough to send this one over to myself and Isaac to watch and review for you guys. And Isaac's doing it with us because we thought it would give you an idea if you're a parent, if you're considering letting your child watch this, or what did the kid think of it. So that's why Isaac's here with us today. So we'll get the boring stuff out of the way first, the directors and actors and stuff. So it was written and directed by Matt Drummond and stars Jordan Dulieu, Annabel Wolfe, Scott Irwin, Beth Champion and Harrison Saunders. There's a much bigger cast than that, but I'm just giving you the sort of the top build cast on there. So I'll give you a bit of an idea as to what it's about. We start the movie in a forest where we see a UFO. It doesn't go into a lot of detail about it, but we can see something strange is happening. The army are there, the government are there. Something strange is afoot. And a group of kids, probably around about 12-ish I would say, are sort of watching all this and like what's going on. It is a very 80s feel. The whole film is a very 80s feel, but when I say that I just mean nostalgia wise. It's one of the young lads has a YouTube channel as an example. They talk about live streaming, so it is a present day movie, but it just had that really nostalgic, you know, all the movies that we watch with groups of kids, usually little boys incidentally, on bikes, riding about, like Stranger Things, like E.T. Exactly. That sort of feel. So this group of kids are in the forest, as kids do. They're out and about on their bikes. There's one little girl in the group who's friendly with one of the lads. You get the usual, oh, why is she coming? Why, your girlfriend? All this sort of stuff. She's doing a science project with the main little lad in the movie who is called Jake Emroy. And they find this flower. It's like a lily, but it's a luminous. It's very like, it reminded me of Pandora's type flowers from Avatar. Our central character Jack brings this plant home in a little bag and it turns inexplicably to this weird luminous type goo. So this goo turns into a certain way. I'm not going to say how. There's a bit of an accident and Magnus the dinosaur comes to be. When he's, I don't want to say born because that's the wrong word, but when we first see him he is perhaps the size of, what do you say, a little kitten or something like that?
Yeah.
He's a little small thing. And every so often he begins to look a bit pearly. He's this like really nice iridescent shiny blue colour. He reminded me a lot of the dragon from How to Train Your Dragon, but obviously a real version. And I know he's black and this one's blue, but anyway.
It reminded me of him as well.
That's the sort of shape of his head and stuff.
Yeah, like Toothless.
Yeah, that's exactly who, Toothless. And he looks a bit pearly every so often, and then he grows, maybe by about a third to a half of his size. So the little boy is marking on his door, like we do when our kids grow. He's this height one day, he's this height at 2 days, and he's growing like exponentially, or whatever that word is. So Jake, the little boy, feels very protective of Magnus, and he is trying to hide him from everyone, which initially is quite easy because he's really small, but even then you sort of, they follow the weird and funny little things that happens. There's a couple of really funny scenes where Emmy falls down the stairs. That sounds horrible, but it was quite funny. And there's another scene where everyone will have seen that famous YouTube clip of the cat sitting on top of the little, like, what's it called, a hoover that goes around the place. So he's sitting on the hoover and it's going around, and that's really fun.
Not like an actual hoover, it's just one of them circled hoovers that hoovers itself.
Yeah, I think they'll know what we mean. So we sort of follow the hijinks of him trying to hide Magnus, and Magnus gets bigger and eventually he has to tell someone. So he tells the little girl that initially went with him to the forest and took the flower. Abby, her name is. So he tells her. And he also eventually tells his older brother, Mike, I think he was called in the movie. He's probably one of the stronger actors in this. To be fair, all of the kids I thought were really good, but we'll get to that anyway. So the movie follows Jack's relationship with Magnus, the changes that Magnus undergoes, and the fact that within their town, the town's called Brightwood, other people are very interested in Magnus, and not just him, there are maybe some other surprises, some other things that are happening that people don't really know what's going on. The government seem to have a bit of an idea, the army are involved, and it's that age-old story of Jack, the little boy's trying to protect his friend, his pet dinosaur, from being taken away, you know, like with King Kong where they take it away and all the rest of it, that sort of thing. So that's the general storyline. Or E.T., actually, very much E.T., where the little boy's trying to hide E.T. So that's the storyline. Do you want to tell us what you thought of it first?
I thought that it was a really good film, and the attacking scenes, there was no blood when he got shot.
Yeah, it was, just to clarify that for you, they don't shoot the dinosaur, he is sedated, and because he is so big at this stage, the army shoot him with several different sedations. It doesn't actually show you the darts, it just shows them pointing guns and shooting, so it may be a bit confusing for younger kids, but they just sedated him. There's nothing I would say overly frightening or scary or anything like that about it, is there?
There's nothing scary, but there is a really, really good action scene.
Yeah, don't say any of the scenes, we don't want to tell people what happened, but there are, personally I thought the CGI was quite good for an independent movie. I thought the acting of the kids was really spot on. There was none, perhaps one of the army, like, commanders, chiefs, whatever, I didn't pay much attention. He was a bit cheesy, but I think we need to remember this is a kids film. This is something you're going to sit down and watch with young kids. So a little bit of cheesy overacting here and there is not really going to ruin it for anyone. The kids were excellent. All of the other adults were excellent. The CGI I thought was really, really good. What else? Anything you want to say about it before I get on to something else?
If I ranked it out of 10, I would rank it a 9.5 out of 10.
That high? That's high praise indeed. If I had to rank it, I would probably come in more like a 6.5. But I'm thinking of movies like Marvel movies and all that
Marvel,
sort of Star Wars. And
every single Marvel movie and Star Wars movie is 10 out of 10.
Well, you see, so they're big scorers. This movie was good, it was enjoyable, young children will enjoy it, but I'm not going to say it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen, but I would recommend it to younger viewers. But the main thing that I wanted to say in the review was, most people when they're going to see a movie will go invariably online to look up reviews. Most people do tend to go to IMDb and have a look at that old score and see what people are saying. This movie on IMDb got absolutely slated. There were scores of 1, there was even a score of a half point, I think, somewhere. And people were saying this is a complete waste of time, the CGI is awful, It looks like 4th graders did it. Some of the comments were atrocious.
This movie is not what they say it is. It is amazing.
There's probably 2 or 3 of quite a few comments that are quite positive. And the people that give the negative viewpoints have all been saying, oh, it must be people involved with the movie because no one's going to really think that. That's not true. And sometimes that is the case. You watch a movie that's so appallingly bad, you think, right, well, those people obviously are in some way tied to the acting staff, the director, whatever way. But in this one, honestly, from a completely honest perspective of someone that watches a lot of movies, and I mean a lot, and a lot of them are bad, this movie was not a bad movie. It was fun. The characters were all endearing. The acting was fine. The CGI was pretty good. I've seen CGI so much worse. I can't even tell you how much worse. I do think this will appeal to young kids, probably up to about the age of maybe 8, maybe 9 at a push, but definitely younger kids will enjoy this. And I didn't feel it was particularly painful to sit through. I quite enjoyed it myself. So take the comments on IMDb with a pinch of salt. We have people on there that are experts in army rankings, in weaponry, that are pointing out that one of the people in the army's got the wrong number of stripes on his jacket. This was filmed in Australia. It's set in the US, and a lot of people are pointing out a lot of flaws with the fact that people are driving with right-hand drive cars like we do in the UK. Obviously in the US it would be on the left, but people are picking holes in the teeny tiniest of things like you would not believe. This movie is for kids. This movie is... A kid's not going to look at someone in an army uniform and say, oh, he's not got the right amount of stripes for sergeant. Oh, that's the wrong colour. He's driving the wrong type of car. That's not an AK-47. It's one of these. It's ridiculous.
Because kids have no idea about that stuff.
Exactly.
They'll just think, oh, that's really cool outfit.
A boat. Isaac has moved to Canada.
No, I have not.
So, in conclusion, Isaac would give this a really high score, still a 9.5.
Yep, 9.5.
I'd give this a 6.5 or a 7.
What?
Purely because when it comes to kids' movies, I'm putting things like Star Wars, the Marvel movies, Pixar movies, all massively up at the top. This is good.
Yeah, Star Wars.
It was entertaining. It wasn't as good as E.T.
No, E.T. was
It's not as, you know, but it's enjoyable. It's definitely worth watching, and the criticism it's getting on IMDb is completely and utterly unfair and unwarranted. The acting's fine. They're saying it's not. It's stilted. It isn't stilted. The writing's weak. It's not. The writing's perfectly fine. So apologies, that's my phone. In conclusion, I would recommend this, and Isaac would most definitely recommend this.
Yes.
So let me know in the comments if you've seen it. What did you think? Unless you're one of those people on IMDb. Let me know what you thought below in the comments, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next time.